All right, we're going to wait for this to populate. Good morning, everyone. Afternoon, if you're elsewhere in the world. This is in reference to some comments Tyson Fury recently made. Seems to pick and choose when he wants the glory. Seems to pick and choose when he wants the prestige. What's good, Melvin? This is in reference to this entire Tyson Fury potential franchise champion situation and whether or not people would give him a pass for skipping Dillian Whyte if he chose to fight Anthony Joshua thereafter. I was goody Hustle, was goody Lomachenko, was goody Nathan Kerr, JD Boxing. You know, Tyson Fury picks and chooses when he wants to acknowledge lineage and history. He picks and chooses. When it comes to lineal status, he acknowledges that and what that encompasses. But when it comes to the responsibilities that come with being a champion, that's what he doesn't want to acknowledge. And you can't have it both ways, you know? I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I was goody Raphael Dawkins, was goody James Hines, Tony was good. Kevin was goody Lisa. But yeah, he picks and chooses when he wants to acknowledge this. Enough wasn't made of how he basically absconded in the Vladimir Klitschko situation and how he essentially deprived Vladimir Klitschko of his rematch. He deprived him of that. I was suspicious when he said he injured his ankle. I was suspicious. I don't know that I fully believe that because a lot of people forgot leading up to the rematch. I believe he said he injured his ankle or something like that. And then then the mental health stuff. And, you stop that guy from getting his rematch so that you could turn around and lay claim to belts that Anthony Joshua ended up having to pick up. So do you want the belts or not, Because you're laying claim to belts that you relinquished. You relinquished those belts. It was your responsibility to come back and defend them. You didn't want to do that, or you were unable to do that, whatever. But you want to throw shade at that guy for picking up the pieces. You pick and choose when you want to be a champion. You pick and choose. With Dillian Whyte, now the belts are just pieces of leather with nice little metal things on them. That's what he's saying now, And it's convenient. You beating Wilder has nothing to do with you fighting Whyte. You beating Anthony Joshua has nothing to do with you fighting Whyte. If you're a champion of any kind, that comes with responsibilities. You don't really want to take on all comers. That's the look of it. That's what it looks like. So I'm gonna get a couple of people in on this one at a time to see how everybody's feeling about this. Would you guys give Tyson Fury a pass if he skips Dillian Whyte? I agree, Vel. I agree. He discredits the belts when it's convenient, but at the same time, he harbors resentment for how things worked out for him, over those belts. Over those belts. You could say that nobody took the belts from you, but of course they didn't take them from you. You fucking retired. How were they going to take them from you if the second you hold them, you throw them in the air? Is he getting too many passes? I was goody Mo. You there, Mo?
All right, sorry. Can you hear me? No. I had the mute on. What's good, Ring?
All right, what's going on? So what do you think about this, man? Let's just say hypothetically, let's just say.
Give me the question again about Tyson passing Whyte.
If he in February is crowned franchise champion and Whyte is elevated to world champion, are you going to give Fury a pass for that? Do you have any aversions to that? What do you think about that if it happens that way?
Bottom line is, do we get the undisputed match? Forget the belts.
All right.
Forget everything. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing.
If Tyson Fury signs the contract, we know what it is.
We can't call it. We can't call it. Like, look, I stand for ceremony. I do. So let's just get our view of what it means to be undisputed. Let's get our view of that. My view of undisputed, right? It has everything to do with the belts, because the belts come with responsibilities. Every single belt. And if you take steps that prevent a fighter from getting a shot at you, no, you're not undisputed champion. You're not. Just because you beat Joshua, that's not going to make you undisputed, because there's other guys besides Joshua. Anthony Joshua is not the whole of the heavyweight division. There's Dillian Whyte, Philippe Hergovic, Tony Yoka, Daniel Dubois, Joe Joy. There's a lot of guys coming up. And the undisputed champion, what makes that special is that you've made a decision to take on all comers. That I'm the fucking one, yo. I'm the one. I got everything y'all want. I got it. Everything y'all want.
Listen, Dillian Whyte, he cried when he wanted a world title shot. When Miller popped dirty, he said, what did he say? Oh, the money's not good. Why they put in a rematch clause, blah, blah, blah. He was acting like the A side against the A side, right? We had Wilder for several years refusing until he said 50-50. And then even then, 50-50 wasn't enough for him. Mm-hmm. Even when he got generational money, it wasn't enough for him. These guys all have different excuses, yeah? I'm sorry to say this, yeah? But at least, and when I started off watching the heavyweight division, as all these young guys were coming up, White, AJ and Fury, so on, so, and the moment Klitschko got dethroned, I was a big fan of Fury, yeah? Not a fan of him personally, just somebody dethroning the long reigning champion, somebody who had a fight that was meaningful. And then the same again when Klitschko lost to AJ, I was happy. I wanted consolidation at that point. All these fighters have had chances, yeah. Only Parker stepped up, and what's his name, Charles Martin. So, and Ruiz as well. You got to give him credit. But why are these guys not willing to risk it for everything? They talk the talk, but they don't walk it. I'm from the UK, yeah. When AJ fought White, I was picking White, yeah, as a fan, not as a official pick. But I'm telling you, the more I hear all of these guys talk, they just keep making excuses. The only reason AJ is good is because he says less and tries to do more. And I see what you mean. You're saying a franchise isn't really going to be for undisputed, but we really know what it is. Yeah, it's just bureaucracy. White is going to make a complaint to just try to be champion, but we know, I'm not saying White is a coward, yeah, but White, he's still got scars from what AJ did to him, yeah? He would rather go the WBC route and wait several years than come back to AJ and have to deal with that again. And the only time White is ever an AJ fan is when it was against Ruiz, when he knew the PBC side were going to control everything. Then he goes and hugs AJ just before after the weigh-in and shit like that, and in the rematch in Saudi Arabia.
I don't disagree with you, Mo, that they're all, I mean, because they're all doing it to a degree. It's all self-preservation at the end of the day, which is natural. But you know why I don't tie in the AJ stuff, the Dillian Whyte's situation with the WBC? Is because those two things have nothing to do with each other. You get me? That Dillian Whyte walking away from the Anthony Joshua shot, whether you think it was a good idea or a bad idea, it still doesn't justify what's been going on with the WBC. That's my view of it, that even if it's true, he could have had that fight, and you're not in a position to haggle with Anthony Joshua. You take what's offered or you walk away. Those are the breaks. And whatever you decide, that's on you. But that is a separate situation from what's been going on with the WBC. So when I see what's going on with the WBC, what I see with Mauricio and what I see with Tyson Fury is that it's being treated as if it's either or, and it's not either or. If you're the best fucking heavyweight in the fucking world, take him on, beat him, and move on, because Anthony Joshua is not going to be free for you after he fights Pulev. That's reality. Usyk is not
Okay.
talking about stepping aside, and Paco Veracel is reinforcing that, saying that, yo, you know you got to fight your WBO mandatory after that. You know that, right? So Joshua's going to be booked anyway. There's a good chance that he's going to be booked anyway after he beats Pulev. If you beat Wilder again, he's still going to be booked. So what's stopping you from fighting Dillian Whyte? What's stopping you?
Listen, as far as I'm concerned, the WBA are going to change their mind anytime they like. Yeah, so forget about them. Regarding the WBC, I agree with you. Yeah, they kept White waiting far too long. But while we're the customers, sorry about that, while we're the customers, while we're the people who want to see the big fight, why is White going to then block it? He's going to block it for personal gain. He wants to come to the table with a belt and demand more money. That's all it is. It's not about fighting AJ, that he's scared to fight AJ, but he wants to fight AJ and try to dictate. But he can't right now without a belt. That's why. Can you guys still hear me?
No, I hear you. I hear you. I'm listening.
Yeah. I just don't read. I don't listen to what
your
White
point-
says.
To your point, Mo, I'm not disagreeing that he wants to use the belt as a bargaining chip to get a bigger split. Of course he is. I'm not disagreeing with that. But what I'm saying is, devoid of that situation, devoid of White and Fury, Joshua's still booked. He has another situation that he has to reconcile anyway. It was never as simple as all Joshua has to do is beat Pulev, and all Fury has to do is beat Wilder again, and then we got the fight. It was never that simple. Eddie Hearn himself is saying that, yo, they got to deal with White. They got to deal with that dude. That's got to come. He said that's got to come before the Joshua fight.
That's true. Another factor we have to take into consideration is, after everything's said and done with this pandemic and all the issues around the world, right? Is the market still going to be alive for that same undisputed match?
Come on, Mo. You know it is. You don't
know it will be. Let's be honest, man. My life.
All right. If you want me to be honest about this, right? What takes away, because all of us are hurting. Well, in all honesty, I'm not, and I'm not sure about everybody, but I'm not. But I'll say that because this was global and it affected governments around the world, it put everybody on an even keel. If it were just one country or a couple of countries, then you could say that, all right, well, look, the markets in these countries, they're just not doing good right now. But the fact of the matter is, nobody's doing good right now. So everybody's on an even keel. Everybody's bouncing back at or around the same time. So once things get back in full swing and the workforce is back to being the workforce, and people are allowed to have big fights, yes, those audiences are going to be there. They're going to be climbing over each other to go to these kinds of fights because this is what they've been missing.
But are they going to be climbing over each other to go to mandatory fights to watch? Will they be the same demand?
You're telling me that Fury versus White at the O2 Arena doesn't sell out?
Yeah, but will Fury come to Britain? He said in the past. He said in the past that he wouldn't come back.
Let's put it a more realistic way. Tyson Fury versus Dillian Whyte won't sell out in Vegas. The Brits won't fly over for that fight. The Zone won't put up the kind of money that Tyson Fury's looking for.
A couple of thousand Brits, yeah, I could believe that. Yeah, I'll give that to you. That's a good point, but I don't think he'll have the same amount of anticipation as Joshua versus AJ. I mean, AJ versus Fury in Wembley or in Las Vegas.
Okay, now I'm gonna add this, and then I'm gonna let Hustle chime in on this. But I'm gonna add this. No problem. Tyson Fury's being given a pass from me because he was allowed to fight fucking Tom Schwartz waiting for the Wilder rematch. He was allowed to fight Otto Verleen waiting for the Wilder rematch. He was allowed to fight that caliber and that quality of competition while they were building up the second fight. So now, you get past Wilder, and now you're going to try to build up the Joshua fight because, like I said, it was never a guarantee that after you beat Wilder, you get Joshua. That was never set in stone, and it still isn't. So what's the problem with getting White out of the fucking way? Just get him out the way. If it's a tick off, if it's just a tick over, if that's all it is and he ain't shit, then get him out the way you got Tom Schwartz out the way. But you don't want to do that. Why?
Because let's be honest, White is a problem. Even if I think Fury would beat him, White is still a problem, right? White is still a live contender. And ever since they sparred, Fury has not categorically denied what White said, that he knocked him down several times. So
okay.
There's a reason. I agree. You've got some good points.
Let's get Hustle in on this. All right, Hustle, what do you think about it? Do you think that if they make Fury franchise in February and they make White World in February, are you going to give him a pass for not fighting White?
Honestly, I can't really give him a pass for not fighting White. I mean, I can't give him a pass. And basically, this all points down to is Deontay Wilder's fault. All this shit happened anyway.
That's true.
When he ducked him for like 3 years. Even Deontay Wilder came out his mouth and said, if people really want the fight to happen, the fight to happen. Well, you didn't want to fight White, so you ducked him, period. You ducked him for 3 years. Everybody know it.
That's true.
And with the WBC, it's like this. It's like, you look at all these up-and-coming boxers, and they like, do I want to get involved with the WBC rankings? Because, damn, they got people wait 3 to 5 years to fight their mandatory. I mean, this a hard sport right here. You know, you can go on to get knocked into a coma, get dead, and when you fight the best and you get the number one contender, you deserve your shot. I would rather go to IBF away, because you know, if you the IBF mandatory, you got a shot in like what? At least in like a year, 3-4 months, somewhere. Yeah.
That's the fail-safe. That's the fail-safe. It's gotten so bad that even the WBO will get you your shot before the WBC.
Let me just chime in. As a boxing fan, you guys, would you prefer to see everybody fight their mandatories, or have the closest thing, the next best thing to undisputed, where there's a franchise belt instead? What would you rather do?
I would say what I would rather is structure, because my thing is bigger than Joshua versus Fury. That's one fucking fight. To top it all off, like I said, Joshua versus Fury is not guaranteed to be their next fight after these fights. It never was. So
it isn't.
So if it's not guaranteed, and in all likelihood, you're gonna have to fight. You might have to fight one more time after if you beat Wilder again. Why not White? Hell, let's put it this way. After Fury fought Tom Schwartz, he could have fought Dillian Whyte and gotten his ass out the way. Then it would have made sense for him to go into the Wilder fight as the mandatory challenger. It would have made sense. Why? Because you just beat White. It would have made sense. You walked away from it then, and you fought Otto Verleen, who God knows where he was ranked. You got to take it easy for 2 fights. You got to take it easy. So now that's your responsibility. Handle it.
Let me be honest with you. How Fury got to a world title shot before Dillian Whyte makes no sense. You're right. He took it easy, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But before the Povetkin fight, when AJ was in negotiations with Wilder, why couldn't we have had it then? Because people just keep getting in the way and making excuses, right? I'm sorry to say, but I have no hope for all these other heavyweights who claim to say AJ is rubbish and they don't sign to fight him. In yesteryears, in the Lennox Lewis era, none of those guys would reject big money, world career paydays, the highest paydays, just to have another tune-up fight with Otto Wallin or Tom Schwartz. So
no,
I'd rather they just fight each other. Sorry. Go ahead, guys. Carry on.
No, I had to get on, man. I'm upset.
All right, now let's describe the situation so that we have clarity. If in February, provided Fury beats Wilder again, if in February he's made franchise, Dillian is made world, are you going to give Fury a pass because it's for the Joshua fight?
No passes, son. Man's had enough passes, yeah? He's never defended the belt. So honestly, his whole championship claim is suspect. You know what I mean? I'm old school, fam. I'm on the you're not the champ until you defend the belt. How many belt defenses has Fury had? Real belt defenses.
0.
Right. So,
Right.
fam, you can't skate on responsibility. You got the other man. He's the champ. He's got 3 mandatories lined up, and he's fighting his mandatories. You know what I mean? Let's not fuck up the history of the game. You know what I'm saying? So I can't give him a pass. You chatting all this shit like you're some bad man.
Mhm.
Go out and handle White like a proper bad man. Defend the belt so we know that you're the champ. Because right now, you're just another Andrew Ruiz. You won a belt and you didn't make a defense.
I have to echo Lennox's sentiment that that's what pisses me off. Anthony Joshua has to deal with the Povetkins,
Amen.
deal with the Takams, deal with the Pulev,
Amen, brother.
deal with the Usyks. He is fulfilling his responsibilities as a champion, and he has 3 fucking belts. But he's doing Fury. You got one. You got one, and one guy, and you're telling me it's asking a lot that you fight Dillian Whyte. It's asking a lot. Bullshit.
And listen, let's be honest here. If the WBO calls for a Usyk mandatory before undisputed, guess what? Joshua's gonna fight him.
Yep.
He's not gonna ask for an excuse. He's gonna say, "Man, let's get this out the way. Start it all over again." So what are you talking about? You know what I mean? You haven't fought a mandatory. That's your responsibility. If you're the WBC champ, otherwise, give the belt back to Wilder and let him fight his mandatory.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Because you can't give this man gets so many passes, and then them chatting shit about like he's some sort of great fam. Fuck all that, fam. You gotta live it. If you're gonna talk it, you gotta walk it. You get me?
No, I agree 100%. I feel like there's too many passes. Look, this could have been handled after the Tom Schwartz fight. When the WBC ordered them to fight, this could have got handled. You could have fought him, and then it wouldn't have been about, oh, White's in the fucking way. Whoever wins has to deal with White. No, you would have fucking took care of White. You chose to fight Otto Verleen. Good fight that he put up. You still chose that. So you are a part of this problem that you didn't handle him, and Wilder didn't handle him. Somebody's gonna fucking have to. Somebody.
Yeah, and Mauricio Suleiman's full of crap, fam. Because listen, the year's not a wash. These men were only going to fight once anyway. So by February 2021, Dillian's got to get his shot at the belt. Point blank, period. Fury gets no passes. We know, fam, you can't call yourself the greatest and you got no respect for the game. You've been fighting in the quote-unquote. I just watched the Wallen fight again, and they referring to this man as a champ. For what? An imaginary belt? Fuck that, fam. You gonna hold all the real belts, fam. I don't believe in belts that I can't see.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
Now let's let Tony talk about this shit. Tony, what do you think about this shit? If Fury's made franchise champion and White is made world champion, do you give Fury a pass? Now, I'm not sure if Tony. Let me see if Tony's mic is on. All right, let me unmute him. All right, he has himself muted. Okay, well, I want to expand on this. You got to understand something. If I'm pressing for mandatories, right? One is a part of the process. It's not right that Fury got to fight Vladimir because he was a fucking mandatory, so that you could turn around and turn your nose up at your own mandatories. You wouldn't have got the Vladimir Klitschko fight if you wasn't a fucking mandatory. That's
precisely
how you got to fight him.
Right. So exactly. And then if we look at it, where are you without the Vladimir fight? Are you even in the conversation?
Exactly.
You're in the conversation because you were a mandatory, but you're not going to give another man the chance to get in the conversation.
Exactly. Too much in boxing is justified behind, I want this more than I want that. No, that's not good for the sport. What this sport is missing that other sports have is fucking structure. And you eliminate the structure when you do this kind of shit. The sport has no structure when you saying, oh, well, I don't got to fight him, but I can still be a champion, but I don't got to fight. No, fuck all that bullshit. You're diluting the sport.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the whole idea that this man could sort of reinvent and get multiple passes. Yeah. It's not like we're talking about a pass, but we're not talking about a one pass thing. Yeah. We're talking about, man, you got multiple passes. You came back, basically fought 2 pushovers, took a fight, fought 2 pushovers in the middle, try to reinvent yourself like you didn't fail an entire PED test, try to reinvent yourself like you weren't gagged for saying massively inflammatory comments in the media, right? You came over to where Americans don't read, don't study, and think you could recreate something and be like, oh, yeah, look, listen, I'm going to say it the way Vander Holyfield said about this whole, like, oh, weight loss. Fam, you put the drugs in your system. You put the sandwiches in your mouth.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So let's not go.
And this is lost on Americans. If Fury made the same statements that he made, and I saw those statements, I saw all that shit he used to say. If he made those same statements here in America, he would be subject to the outrage culture. He came here because he knew the Americans don't know better. They weren't watching British boxing when he was saying all that shit. They weren't watching none of that shit. But if he came over here, watch how fucking fast the LGBT community would have been all over him for saying the type of shit that he was saying.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Like, fam, you had fun. All this mental health and then the whole fake suicide run. Fam, you out here. Did you donate your purse or not? You did not donate your purse from the fight. All right, you've out here. You've been a con man for this thing. You're getting passes. So enough is enough, fam. We let a few things slide. I'll let things slide, but it's like, come on, fam. You've been conning the public for long enough. So this is just a pass that you can't have.
I agree. Now we're gonna see if Tony gets situated because he was here, but he dropped out.
My thing is, if they make Fury the franchise champion, if I'm AJ, I'm looking at like, man, what the fuck I got to fight you for then? That's non-transferable right there. Now listen,
what's that? An imaginary belt? Like you want to negotiate with me with an imaginary belt?
Fight Dillian Whyte.
Imagine that would work perfectly because we could have the undisputed fight in the UK with two Brits fighting for it. That would work out. Yeah, I'd love for that to happen.
He's adding a step to the process. Like the first thing is, this is the worst part. He'd still have to fight Fury for undisputed, but then he'd have to also fight Whyte for undisputed as well because Whyte would have a belt. That's going to create a haggling situation because if Whyte has a belt, you can guarantee he's going to want more money. Then Fury's going to still want 50-50, even though all you got is the Ring Magazine belt and lineal status, which is not a belt. Lineal is not a belt. Ring Magazine is a belt. Lineal is not a belt. But he still would have to fight him because he's a titleist of any kind to really be undisputed. You're prolonging the process with what you're doing. If you really want to speed this up and hurry it along, get Whyte out the way. What's the problem? He ain't shit, right? You called him a bum. I ain't forget. You called him a bum.
Yeah, you're this bad fighting man. You're this bad man fighting man and the best there ever was, and you're posting up pictures comparing yourself to Ali. I never heard of Ali running the other way from any man.
Exactly.
That's the most contradictory shit to say about an opponent. He's weak, he's a bomb. If he's that easy of a bomb to beat, just go fight him then.
Exactly.
Like
I want to get South London in on this. South London, what do you think about it? Do you think if Fury's made franchise and Whyte is made world, what's your reaction to that?
Well, it's ridiculous, you know, because Fury is not about getting that work from Whyte. So I don't know why he just doesn't get the work from Whyte. He needs to get the work from Whyte to get my respect. So
I agree.
As soon as them two can get into, I think Whyte would knock him out personally. I think a lot of people are not clued up on what Whyte is about. There's a lot of guys, you know, trying to avoid him. Why don't people think, there must be something about this guy that people don't want?
Oh, I'm gonna add this to your point, South London. I did a video on that. I did a video about Wilder. I did a video about Fury very recently and his aversion to it. They're like, look, if you thought he was as easy as Tom Schwartz, or Sefa Safari, or Francesco Pianetta, or Otto Verlin, you must have thought it was going to be easy because you took those fights with no issue. You chose those guys. If you thought the same thing about Dillian that you thought about those guys, you'd have fucking had the fight already, dog. You're not going to tell me that you would have made more money fighting Tom Schwartz than you would have made fighting Dillian Whyte. Bullshit.
Exactly.
That fight sells out in the O2. All right, you don't want to fight in London? That fucking fight sells out at the MGM in Las Vegas.
He gets knocked out in the O2 and he gets knocked out in the MGM.
And don't forget, man lives on the ends out here, and the Jamaicans back Whyte. I almost had a fisticuffs with a few Jamaican man them in the barbershop over Whyte. So the Jamaicans will come out and support that, man. They put the money up.
Of course they, but look, I saw some of the things that Tyson Fury said recently about the fight, that, oh, he's only about the big fights and the finances and the money. I'm like, yo, why are you talking about Dillian Whyte like he ain't just get Oscar Rivas $1 million? We ain't fucking talking about motherfucking... We ain't talking about
let's
Makhmadov or some obscure person like that. Dillian Whyte has a fucking name. He sold out the O2 before. He's been on pay-per-view.
And let's understand.
That knows Dillian Whyte. Anybody.
Let's understand. He just put up $4 million. He just offered $4 million for this fight, for this fat bastard who ducked him. Yeah. So let's understand that Eddie and none of the broadcasters are putting up $4 million for a fighter who isn't worth $4 million.
Of course not. Like we can't talk about Dillian Whyte like he's motherfucking. You know, like I'll say, look, we can't talk about Whyte like he's Kubrat Pulev. Whyte sells tickets, bro. Whyte sells tickets. Everybody knows. If you know Wilder and you know Fury and you know AJ, then you know Dillian. You can't fool me with that one. Like, oh yeah, because he ain't worth no money, right? Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, but listen, I'm not saying that Dillian Whyte doesn't deserve his title shot, yeah. But I'm just tired of him crying and chatting shit, right? Because he had the chance to fight Pulev for a final eliminator and decided to go a different route.
You do that bathroom up too.
He had,
yes, sir.
And now he just. Sorry, can somebody mute their mic while they're not talking?
I got you.
All right. Yeah. So Dillian Whyte, he's just gonna keep crying and crying, and the same for Fury. Just try to milk everything and act like a victim. You know, the Brits came out to support him, but at the same time, Fury likes to say stuff like, "Oh, they never loved me. I don't want to go back there and fight there. America's my new home." Fuck out here. They all chat rubbish, if I'm honest with you.
No,
the ones that say the least chat the least rubbish.
Let me say one thing. Sorry to cut you there.
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
Dillian Whyte is a guy his star's been rising for a little while now. Ever since he got knocked out by AJ, his star's been rising. So there's been people that have been trying to block him from coming up to where
I 100% agree. I 100% agree.
It's crazy because Eddie Hearn, yeah, that guy is actually smarter than what people think. Because I believe White's gone the WBC route and AJ's gone and collected all the other titles because they wanted to do an undisputed between them two. And I think they didn't want the Brits to have the undisputed with Dillian Whyte and AJ. So what ended up happening is the WBC was helping Wilder. Now, in the end, it's backfired because now they got two Brits potentially fighting for undisputed. The only problem is now that Tyson Fury is now trying to be an American. He's trying to not fight in the UK no more. For what reason? I don't know.
Look, listen. I think it's Mo. Yeah. Listen. Yeah. Like I can't fault Dillian. Dillian basically had a path that he was set on, and just like South London just said, yeah, man was out to get. I think that was the master plan, and I think I had this conversation with Julius a couple of years ago. I said the master plan was to get Dillian to snatch that beat up Wilder, grab the WBC belt, and go get a rematch and unify or do something with AJ. I think that's always been the plan, and that's why he's been so heartfelt and set on the WBC. Because becoming a mandatory
let me add this to it. You know that was the plan because go back to the Robert Helenius fight, look at when that fight took place, and look at what it was for. It was for a WBC silver title. That was always the plan. Sick Whyte on Wilder. Since he wants to bullshit with Joshua, let's make Whyte his responsibility. So one way or another, we get this fucking belt. One way or another. Either we get it when AJ beats him, or we get it when Whyte beats him. Because that fucking Robert Helenius fight was years ago, dog. That was an eliminator. That was what, 2017 and some shit like that? That's
something like that.
That's an old ass fight. Whyte has been on that path because Eddie likely knew. And I'm not just going to put it on Eddie because it's also Whyte's plan. And Whyte operates independently of what Eddie wants also. Whyte is his own man. That's why he's not pinned down to Matchroom. He can go somewhere else if the money is right. He has the liberty to go somewhere else. Well,
And he shopped around, and the money isn't right. Go ahead. Sorry.
You're right though. You're right, because when he came to America for the Pacquiao Broner fight, I believe it was, a lot of people courted him, but ultimately he stayed on the matchroom side. Why? Because the money's right, bro. They pay on time, which is important.
I just want to add something. Not that you're insinuating this, but I don't want people to get the wrong idea. But Eddie Hearn is not stopping AJ and White facing off, right? He's done it in the past. He did it with Carl Froch and George Groves 1 and 2, and they were both his fighters. Actually, in the second fight, George Groves signed to Shaolin, but in the first fight, they were both matchroom fighters. And just in case anyone thinks that to blame Eddie Hearn
of course
again,
not. Of course not. Eddie's about the bag. Eddie's about the money. And the difference between Eddie and Bob is Eddie has the mindset you got to spend money to make money. Bob is just an old shyster.
I'll say,
I know you never said that. I just don't want viewers to think that, because people's minds run anyway.
Look, anybody who's been following Eddie's track record of fights and how he goes about making a fight, you can't accuse this man of blocking fights at all. That's nonsensical. So anybody that even harbored that assumption, you're way off. The point of it is that Dillian Whyte's situation with Anthony Joshua and not liking the money has absolutely nothing to do with Tyson Fury's responsibilities as a champion. You won the WBC title, bro. You beat Wilder for it. You adopted problems, and now you're acting like Wilder. You're acting like Wilder.
Let me ask this question, though. He's got a responsibility. Tyson Fury should fight Dillian Whyte. If he fights somebody else other than named Dillian Whyte or Anthony Joshua, I got a problem with that. But if they're going to give us an undisputed fight, no franchise, I'm going to take that over a mandatory. I'm not saying they do, shouldn't unifications trump mandatories? If
the mandatory has to be willing to step aside. Yes, if you can negotiate a step aside deal, a big part of the deal is the mandatory has to be willing to step aside. I said this in a video I just did. What makes anybody think that Bob Arum is going to pay Dillian Whyte millions upon millions of dollars to step aside? Because I can tell you right now, he ain't going to do that.
Yeah, and believe me,
he had to step aside for free for the past 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, believe me, I'm just not with the whole franchise sullying the waters, and it's just, you know what I mean? It's fucking up the sport, and it's like, this is my point. I think I went off on a rant about this last time, is that Bob doesn't give a fuck about boxing. You know what I mean? I don't care what anybody says about his history, but you doing that to the heavyweight championship of the world, you got no respect for the game, no respect for the history, and you're just sullying the waters of this game. If you really, really have faith in your guy, let him go out there and smash Dillian Whyte. Because here's what AJ's doing. AJ's like, I'll clean up my mandatories. I don't want anything waiting around.
And that's and thank you for bringing that up. After I say this, I'm gonna pass it to Unrivaled. AJ is not skirting around any of the mandatory challenges he's had since he fucking got a belt. He hasn't skirted around any of them. So why the fuck am I supposed to give Tyson Fury a pass? Why? This guy fights any mandatory from Takam to Pulev. Usyk is his fucking mandatory now. Pulev is his fucking mandatory. It's like, bro, why does Anthony Joshua have to work 2 times as hard as Tyson Fury? Can somebody explain it to me? They've held the same number of belts, but Joshua has to work twice. How many title defenses does Tyson Fury have again? Fucking 0. 0. So no, I'm not giving him a pass. Now I'm gonna pass it over to Mark. What do you think about it?
About Whyte, Fury, Joshua?
Yeah.
Obviously I want undisputed. That's what we all want as a boxing fan. But I've held the same thing. Dillian Whyte deserves a shot. It's kind of that simple. The dude's been #1 contender for 3 years. He's been mandatory now since the Rivas fight, right?
Yep.
Well, actually, no, because they provisionally stripped him of mandatory, made Fury mandatory for the Wilder fight for no reason.
He was mandatory?
Yes.
I'm gonna say to Mark's point. Remember. When the WBC made Tyson Fury a mandatory, that was in January of 2019. So this is actually before Dillian was provisionally suspended for the Rivas shit. They fucking ordered with a purse bid, Fury versus Wilder 2.
Yeah, I get that. I get that, right? They ordered that. And then something came about where Fury ended up having another fight. So they allowed Dillian Whyte to fight for the interim title. And the interim title made him mandatory as well. And that was the whole point of that. And then when he got provisionally suspended, they reinstated Tyson Fury as mandatory when the fight was already signed. Which made no fucking sense. Other than to push back Dillian Whyte an extra year.
For me, I can kind of understand.
Pure corruption.
For me, I can kind of understand why Fury doesn't really want it. Because who at the highest level would want to fight somebody that's already knocked them out in sparring? Like, really, who?
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Allegedly. I see the video. I see the video. That's not allegedly. I see the video. White knocked him spark out.
You've seen the video?
I've seen the video.
Has anyone else here seen that video?
I haven't, admittedly.
Not me, but I've seen the video.
Look for it on YouTube. Look for it on YouTube. I've seen the video. He got knocked out. Let me describe the style for you, right? Dillian Whyte is doing the Mike Tyson, you know. He's just coming in, he's bending low, and Fury's doing, you know, what he normally does. He's trying not to get hit. But Dillian Whyte caught him a couple of times and he was spark out.
South London, let me ask you a question. Is that the video with low pixelation?
Yes, it's a bit pixelated, but I've seen that
video. It's about 12 seconds long or something like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. That video looks fake, to be honest.
Look, I'm gonna be. Let me just say this about the rumor. Let me just say this about the rumor. Do I believe
that video is a few years old?
I believe devoid of the video, because we don't know if the video is genuine? The question is, do you believe? Do any of you out there believe that Tyson Fury was put down by Dillian? I say yes. You never denied what he said. As much shit as you talk, you never denied that he put you down. You never denied it.
Exactly. He never denied it.
If it was bullshit, you would react the way I would react when somebody says some bullshit.
Yeah,
That's bullshit. You didn't do nothing. What the fuck are you talking about, dog? Now you just making shit up. That's not what Tyson Fury said.
It's like the same way when he knocked out Miller. It's like the same way when he knocked out Big Baby. Like, Big Baby wasn't saying anything. Like, he knows.
Yeah, but we knew that. Like, I'm not even going to put shit in public, but listen, Big Baby's taking work from Otto Wallen. Otto's Julius, I told you this.
Nah, I never heard about this.
No, actually, yeah. You did.
I told you know my gym, you know my camp. You know what I mean? I told you this. Remember when everyone thought Otto was going to be easy work, and I was like, he's not easy work. You know what I mean? The man trains this thing, and you know, what's his name's former trainer, Harry Keith. You know, obviously I've told you quite a few stories about my interactions with Harry Keith, but yeah, Mendez Boxing, the front ring, Big Baby was in there. It's not a big ring. Was in there with Otto, and Otto was giving him the business. Otto was giving him the business, and this was about 3 years ago. So even on the Super Juice, he was getting the business from Otto.
I just want to say this. We can't get away from the focal point. And the focal point is, before you go giving Tyson Fury a pass to skip what is one fucking mandatory, just one, from a guy who's never even defended a single belt he's ever held. Not one. This is going to be his first title defense. Before you give him a pass on the premise of, oh, I want undisputed. Just remember, leading up to this, how many fucking mandatories has Anthony Joshua had to fight? And how many more is he going to have to fight? You never heard this guy say, well, I'm not going to fight him because he ain't worth no money. If Joshua said that, they'd be crucifying him. Him.
I would be crucifying him.
Pulev. He can say that about who the fuck knows Kubrat Pulev? Who knows him? But he's gonna fucking fight him, right? Well, it's my job. This is my responsibility. I'm a champion. That's why
has Joshua had 2 mandatories?
Yeah, he had Carlos Takam via the IBF after Pulev dropped out the first time. He had Alexander Povetkin via the WBA. Pulev is going to be the second IBF mandatory he satisfies, and then after that, he's got to deal with Usyk.
Well, wasn't Usyk made mandatory in 2018 with the WBO?
Yeah.
Dillian Whyte's only been mandatory now since June of last year, officially mandatory. Wouldn't Usyk take a priority? Shouldn't he take a priority over Pulev at least?
I think, sorry to interrupt you, I think what the WBC said, correct me if I'm wrong, is that they were suspending him. I don't think they removed him.
Yeah, his status wasn't rescinded. Yeah, his status wasn't rescinded indefinitely. It's all in the name, quote unquote, suspended. That means, you're still.
I could be wrong.
But that doesn't lessen the point of that he's only been the mandatory since June.
Well, he's only been the mandatory since June as a result of corruption, though, isn't it? Look, Mauricio Suleiman, immediately after the Molina fight, and I've done so many videos on this, I can't keep doing more. After the Molina fight with Brazil, Mauricio, his motherfucking self, said that this is not a final eliminator and the winner is not a mandatory. So he could turn around the following year and say, no, they're the mandatory. And at this time, Dillian Whyte been sitting at number 1 for how many fucking months? So if he's only been the mandatory since this past June, it's because you corrupt motherfuckers didn't make a mandatory when y'all should have.
Yeah, and even going with Unrival's point. Yeah, even go with Unrival's point. All right, so whatever, right? He's up February 2020. You still got to give him his shot by February 2020.
I'm not saying he doesn't deserve a shot. I'm talking about Usyk also. Like, if people are screaming so much about Dillian Whyte,
no, because that was addressed. Because I believe it's in the sequence the belts were won.
I mean, he's been mandatory. He's been mandatory longer than Dillian.
No. I'm talking about we're talking about mandatories being defended. It's in the sequence that AJ won the belt. Since he's got 3, he's got to fight the mandatories in the sequence at which he won them.
Well, in the sequence, I get in the sequence in which he won them, but he hasn't defended a mandatory with the WBO as of yet. So the IBF having a second one before the WBO wouldn't make any sense.
Can I bring up
I see what Mark is saying. He's saying that the order is out of whack. That's what he's saying. But if the order's out of whack, that's really on the WBO for not making that decision sooner.
Well, wasn't an agreement reached between both of them, according to an interview a few years ago, whatever, after the rematch? It was that there was a sort of an agreement reached between the WBO and the WBA.
Oh, you're talking about after the Ruiz fight, right? The first one?
Yeah. Yep, there was an agreement.
I believe so.
Yes. There was an agreement reached on how the mandatories are fulfilled. So if that ended up pushing Usyk back, maybe that's what happened.
The other thing is that when they reached that agreement, the WBO didn't have an interim champion. I don't think they do now. They didn't have I know they didn't have an interim champion then for them to be the mandatory challenger. So at that time, they hadn't even decided who is it that is the mandatory challenger to the WBO title. So that's more or less why that happened that way. But better still, to Dillian Whyte's situation and Usyk's situation, Usyk is Joshua's responsibility. Whyte is Fury's responsibility. You got to deal with that, and that's the point.
And we're not discussing anyone skating Usyk.
Look, not a single mandatory that he's had, right? And these are solid fighters. I'm not gauging their fighting ability. I'm talking about their marquee value because this is Fury's excuse. Oh, because that's not a big money fight. Oh, because Povetkin is a big marquee money guy? Because Pulev is a big marquee money guy? Because Takam was a big money guy? The fuck out of here, bro.
I think one of my main things is that they're openly in the public planning another route to block Whyte again.
Yes.
And for me, it just doesn't make any sense.
No, fact.
Yeah.
Well, wasn't the WBC talking about pushing the mandatory back?
Well, the WBC, Mauricio, and you can't trust shit that he says, but he said nobody, like, because you know, Lennox, you can't, like, he'll say this today and that tomorrow. You know that.
I mean, he said himself he didn't understand the rules of the franchise championship.
Yeah, and he's a part of the ones who wrote the fucking rules. Right now, nobody has asked for Fury to be made franchise, and of course they haven't asked for that yet. Why would they? They need this Wilder fight to happen. It's after that. They got to give Wilder a chance to win Sophia back. So you can't push for franchise, not right now. It's after that. When that deadline rolls around and that purse bid rolls around, what did I say before about Top Rank and Matchroom getting in a bidding war? They don't want that, bro. Eddie gonna pull that DAZN wallet out and shit could get real fucking ugly out here. They don't want to deal with that. Instead of that, yo, you know what? Fury, you franchise White. Here, hold that. You got it. You finally got it. Congratulations. Leave us the fuck alone. That's what he gonna do. That's what he did to Loma and Devin Haney. That's what he gonna do with Fury and fucking White. Unless Dillian, and this is a fourth scenario that I haven't had the chance to discuss, unless Dillian concedes to wearing the kind of underwear and socks that Fury wants him to wear. He has to brush his teeth a certain way the morning of the fight. All right? He has to take a certain kind of shower, eat a certain, unless he concedes that every single motherfucking thing the Top Rank wants, maybe he gets the fight. Big fucking maybe though.
And you know what? Even with that, I still see Dillian just battering him out of frustration, just out of pure frustration.
I would hate for Dillian Whyte to lose the Povetkin because it's wrong, dog. It's wrong. Like I know. Look, idealism in boxing is an exercise in futility, but I just think it's fucking wrong, dog. Wilder didn't want to give you a shot, so we'll never know because he didn't want to give you a shot. Now Fury doesn't want to give you a shot, and you.
Don't you think in hindsight you could see why Wilder didn't want to give him a shot after the way he got dispatched by Fury?
Yeah, but I've been saying that for years. I've been saying
that wasn't news to anyone.
South London.
Imagine if White was coming forward and putting it on him. Don't you think he would have got smashed up?
South London, I'm gonna say this. Ever since James Ali Bashir said that he saw Wilder get put down by a left hook from Klitschko, that decided it for me. That's why you don't want to fight Dillian. That's why.
He doesn't want body shot.
Go fight no contenders.
Do you know what? And I'm not knocking Deontay Wilder. There's still a good chance he could beat Dillian Whyte, but as all his actions have said, I don't want to fight anyone who's a risk. Anyone. Not Dillian Whyte, not AJ, nobody.
Okay, based on what you just said now, the last 5 fights from Wilder, is that a man that could beat this current Dillian Whyte?
I'm not sure that.
Listen, I think personally, Dillian Whyte is not so defensively gifted, doesn't have the same size as Tyson Fury. I do think Dillian Whyte can beat Deontay Wilder, but I'm just saying it's not a foregone conclusion. Either man, that's a competitive fight for me, and I wanted to see that fight happen.
Can I say this? Look, can I say this?
Go ahead.
Let me say this. Deontay Wilder does stand a chance of knocking out Dillian Whyte. It's not that he doesn't. He does, because White isn't a defensive wizard. So there is a chance. And if he gasses in the late rounds, that's Wilder's calling card. Getting the guy to expend all his energy so that he could time him with the right hand. Because if he does anything, he does that. That's why he catches a lot of guys with it. But it's that White is a lot. Even if he were an underdog, he'd be a live underdog. Like, bro, don't count White out, dog. He might fuck around and win this thing.
I agree.
If he goes to his body, or if he counters his jab with a big left hook or something like that, bruh, yeah, it could happen, dog. He could put him down. So I want him to get the chance. Like, yo, Wilder never gave him a chance. So Fury's not going to – who the fuck is going to – oh, so we're going to put it on Anthony Joshua again. That's what we're going to do.
Do you know what? I just kind of feel like Wilder kind of denied us the chance to see how good he is. Because for me, I don't know how good he is. So when I hear, why he would knock out White, he would knock out AJ, he would knock out this, he would knock out that, I'm just thinking, would he? Would he even knock out Povetkin? Because I don't know.
Right. You know what? I like this. I like where this is going. But I don't want to turn this into Wilder Hour. I really don't, because you know what? You fucking lost. All right? It's not your responsibility anymore. You got to avoid this man most of your career, whatever, or most of your reign as a champion, I should say. You're not even the issue. The issue now is, why are we always putting it on AJ to live up to a certain standard. But Fury is literally talking about skirting around them. When have you ever heard Anthony Joshua? Well, I ain't gonna fight that motherfucker because he ain't a marquee guy. Because Pulev is the marquee guy, and Takam was the marquee guy.
Look at Canelo Alvarez, right? One of the biggest stars in boxing. Other than Danny Jacobs, who's really marquee? He brings all the value to the table. Yeah. Kovalev's not a big star. I mean, who else? I can't think off the top of my head, but Golovkin, that's a big fight. Golovkin brought a lot of fans to the sport. But other than Golovkin and Danny Jacobs, Canelo fights whoever and he still sells out. So none of this marquee bullshit makes any sense to me.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. And that's, look, this is my point. Anthony Joshua's getting done raw, right? He is. Because if he said what Fury said, bro, that shit would be everywhere. It would be everywhere. And even I would have to hold him accountable for that because that's not sporting. Thankfully, AJ makes it easier for you to be a fan of him. Why? He's never said no corny shit like that. Like, oh, I ain't gonna fight him because he don't sell. Like, what type of shit is that, bro? It's a lot of most motherfuckers don't sell tickets. So what's your point?
I kind of feel like now he's doing his Fury is doing his fucking.
If anything, Dillian Whyte is actually a marquee name. He's a fucking big marquee name. If you think about
Dillian Whyte is one of the 4 biggest names in the heavyweight division.
In probably all boxing, because heavyweight division is the biggest division.
In my village in Nicaragua, we have Dillian Whyte churches. In Nicaragua. Right?
No, fam. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's
same village. I'm from the same village. We have hymns.
We have hymns.
Please, Dillian, knock out Fury. Please.
Yeah, no, but honestly, I got a sentiment. It's like, you know what I mean? I think a lot of people are giving, what's his name, bigger passes because he sparked out someone that no one really liked. Because now we're seeing that no one really liked Wilder. You know what I mean? Let's be honest. Yeah. And it's like, let's not give this man so much passes as if he just came and liberated, you know what I mean? Yeah, whatever, it's fine, you know what I mean? But let's be honest, I really think Dillian would have done the same thing. But you can't, we're happy about the win. I'm happy he got sparked out. But it's still boxing, it's still a heavyweight division, there's still tradition, there's still things. And you can't chat this much shit and effectively try to duck a man.
I'm going to say,
you chat loads of shit.
The reason I celebrated when Fury won is because I thought Fury was better than that. So I'm thinking, okay, now the belt rests with someone that's gonna like at least more than Wilder, at least more than that guy, because it was clear as day Wilder has no intention of ever fighting Whyte ever in this life or the next. He has no intention of fighting this man. So I'm thinking maybe Fury maybe he gives him a shot. Maybe that was the initial impression. And ever since then, we see what's been going on. Like, bro, you ain't likely to fight this motherfucker no more than he was. So it's the same shit in a different toilet, but it's the same shit. And you don't get a pass because it's the undisputed title fight, bro. Like I said at the beginning of this video, it was never a foregone conclusion that you beat Wilder and go into the Joshua fight because even Joshua's dance card is booked. It's booked. You got to fight somebody. What you going to do? You going to fight another Pianetta? Preserve yourself. Joshua has to fight fucking Usyk, and you get to fight a Safari or a Pianetta instead of fighting Whyte. Bullshit, bro. And then if he loses because he's taking on the best, we supposed to turn our nose up at him. We supposed to turn our nose up at Joshua, but Fury I didn't say nothing when he came back against Sefer Safari. I didn't say nothing when he fought Francesco Pianetta. But Otto Verleen, Tom Schwartz, all right, it's clear you chose who you chose because you wanted to preserve yourself long enough to have the Wilder fight. If Joshua did that, would he have got the passes that you got? No, they don't give him passes now, and he's a fucking unified champion. Fight
they didn't give him a pass when he wanted to fight Povetkin. They were like,
Povetkin was a mandatory.
Yeah, but a lot of people who don't really know boxing like that were like, who's that? Povetkin, who's he?
Yeah, they were still saying they're bums. They're saying Povetkin's a bum and Luis Ortiz is God's only child, right?
Let's be honest. Hold on. People were saying Povetkin's a bum?
Yes, they were.
Yeah. That has to have been in America.
Yeah, of course. That's what I seen it. That's what I seen it.
But let's
Damn,
be
bro.
honest, Povetkin is essentially the first person they showed us Wilder's track shoes.
True.
Crazy, bro.
I'm
Like
gonna
calling
be
Povetkin a bum.
transparent. I'm gonna be transparent. I had no sympathy for Povetkin in the Meldonium situation. I had even less sympathy in the Osterin situation. I'm gonna make that clear. But
No, absolutely. No. Not giving anything.
What changed my mind is, okay, with Ortiz, you saw he tested positive. You wanted to fight him anyway, and you gave
That's
it.
that's what I was alluding to. No sympathy. You know, I got no sympathy for anyone that pops hot for whatever. You know what I mean? I got zero sympathy for it. But that's what I was alluding to is that, fam, you went through an entire lawsuit, you know what I mean, for missed wages or whatever, right?
I heard he
But
lost
you didn't
as
keep
well.
that
He lost
same
that
energy.
lawsuit.
Yeah, but he didn't keep that same energy when it came to this other man.
Povetkin, he didn't.
Yeah. You know, he won the initial lawsuit, and then they took it back, run it back again, and Povetkin won the second time around. But yeah, he didn't keep the same energy with Luis Ortiz. You know. But anyway,
I don't want to diminish the victory over Ortiz completely, because admittedly, I wanted him to have that fight. I said he would win, and he won. I said his resume needs that, so I'm not diminishing the victory. All I'm saying is, if you good to fight one ped user, what difference does another make? They're both in the same age group. You know what the difference is? This guy's a lot more proven than that guy. That's the fucking difference. This guy's a fucking gold medalist, this guy.
Do you rate
gold medalist, world championships, decorated amateur. He's got it all. The only thing he got Ortiz has is a Pan Am Games that he didn't even win.
Look, let's just be real. Let's just be real. If I sat down and asked you guys to name 5 heavyweights in the last 15 years with a better resume in the pro game than Povetkin, I'll sit here and wait 2 weeks.
Bro,
you can't do it.
No, you can't.
That's a valid point. Yeah,
you can't.
Deontay Wilder.
What?
No,
is Ahmed in the chat?
Oh shit! Like
even AJ's Olympic amateur record isn't as good as Povetkin's. That's a difficult question.
No, I mean
that is a difficult question.
Look, in my village,
the main people over here that was calling him a bum over here in America was like casuals. I knew who Povetkin was. You know what I'm saying?
In my village, in my village, at the foot of Mount Kilimanjaro, we have Alexander Povetkin schools and grocery stores. We have them. At the foot of Mount Kilimanjaro, we have those schools, man. Povetkin is a bad he's a bad motherfucker. I'm sorry. I know he's a ped user. So is Luis Ortiz. So are a lot of people. At the end of the day, if this guy goes into a fight, you better be fucking good, because he is. You better be fucking good. I'm telling you, better be good. He ain't no tick over this guy. He's not.
No, ain't no easy night.
Dillian better come in top shape. He can't come in the way he did against Marius Vacker. He's getting beat, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, you understand that Povetkin's been in Russia doing whatever they do in Siberia over this whole quarantine, getting ready for this fight.
With no drug testing. There's been no drug testing. There's been zero drug testing. No, not allegedly. There has been no drug testing. They announced it.
I know, but you can't slander a man like that. You know what I mean? Let's be objective. I'm just saying.
We're not slandering him. We're just stating a fact. There was no.
There is no drug testing right now, and we know.
Slander.
Listen,
slander is if you say he took drugs. Go ahead.
Right? Okay. But we know that there is no drug testing, and we know that he is a former drug cheat.
But it's one thing to not have drug tests. But I thought it was the stupidest shit in the world to announce that it wouldn't be no drug test.
Yeah.
That was
a funny drug tested after the fight.
As soon as that was announced, Big Baby Miller headed for Miami.
Yep.
Yeah.
All I'm saying.
I'm not even being funny. That's a fact. Man,
look, because we're getting away from the point. The point that I really want to make is it's not okay for Tyson Fury to decide that this guy's not. No, bro. Joshua don't do that. He don't do that, bro. Period. I'm not gonna hold Anthony Joshua to a different standard than you. I'm not. What are you so afraid of in Dillian Whyte? What is everybody so fucking afraid of?
The left hook, man.
I'll say this.
You're not gonna keep telling me this man's a bum, that he's tired. Oh, all right, then go beat him. Go beat him.
I'll say this, even though I want Undisputed more than anything. They said that Dillian Whyte's mandatory is due. If Fury tries to bypass that, Fury should be stripped.
Yeah.
He should be.
He's made French fry champion. If he's the French fry champion, he gets a cheeseburger.
Well, here's what I don't understand about the French fry champion. In the initial thing when they were talking about it, they said that somebody who has been a top representative of the WBC, Fury just won the belt.
Yeah.
That's
Well, look what Vasyl Lomachenko was made franchise champion. How many titles did he have?
None. He that was his first WBC title.
You know what I mean? Like, that's why I've been saying it from the get.
But Vasyl can move up or down a weight division. Fury can't. You ain't gonna see Tyson Fury popping up at cruiserweight at fucking 14 stone 4, 200 pounds. Dude with 275 in his last fight.
I'm just saying, look for it. Look for it, because ultimately Top Rank. One, Fury doesn't want to do it because he doesn't feel like it. That's Fury. But what really drives the point home is Top Rank does not want to get into a bidding war with the Zone, because they're going to fight for that fight. That's a fight that they would fight for. It ain't going to be like Anthony Crolla, where all you got to do is throw a couple $100,000 on the top and that'll settle things between y'all. With this, they going to fight for this fight if they can get it. And I don't know that ESPN wants to. I don't know that they want it that bad. I don't know.
Also, how much does the mandatory with the WBC get? Because all mandatories get different. Some it's 40, some it's 25, some it's whatever. What's the mandatory purse for WBC?
I think it's more than
30.
Yeah, I think it's 30 because the WBA is 25 minimum.
Yeah, I think the WBO is 40.
Well, that's not bad. Shit, no wonder. Shit, 40.
All right.
Bad. Fuck, that's almost bad.
But if it's 30%, they're gonna want to take that to Dillian will want that to go to purse bids. He's not gonna want a flat fee because he knows that he can get that purse bid to go up to 25, 30 million. He knows.
If Fury drops the belt and gets franchised, and then Dillian Whyte is elevated to WBC champion, is anybody giving him a pass as to how he won the title? Because I think his resume is good, and people just didn't want to fight him.
I'm gonna tell you something, South London. In that situation, I would treat it exactly as I treated the Devin Haney situation. I never faulted Devin Haney for what happened. I would not fault Dillian Whyte for what happened. It was never Devin Haney's fault. Devin Haney's people did not petition the WBC to make Lomachenko franchise champion. What they did was they fought an eliminator. They won. They became interim champion. And your people decided to go that route. I'm not saying Lomachenko. I never said that Lomachenko was scared of Devin Haney, for example. I know what happened. Top Rank does not want to get into a bidding war with Matchroom. And the same fucking thing is going to happen with Fury and Whyte, except with this situation is different. Fury, I don't think you want to fight Dillian Whyte. Personally, I don't think you want to fight him.
No, I agree with you. I'm not really. I agree with you. I feel like, he doesn't want. My thing is that, fam, you chat so much shite. Only to run. It's sort of like his dad with this. You know what I mean? Bare knuckle thing. Like, fam, if you really about that life, be about it. You know what I mean? And then I just saw videos of his old man getting chinned. So, fam, you're not that guy.
Yeah, I mean,
you know what I mean? Yo, Julius, as they say on Lennox, stop it, 5. Stop it.
Serious question. Would anybody recognize if he took the franchiseship? Would anybody here recognize that fucking fight is undisputed? Because I wouldn't.
No. Canelo versus Kovalev wasn't a unification match, right?
Absolutely not. Just like I don't think Teofimo Lopez and Lomachenko's were undisputed. Just like I wouldn't rate that as undisputed. But there'll be people saying it's undisputed, which is bollocks.
If Teofimo goes in there and knocks Lomachenko's block off, is Lopez undisputed? No. He's going to have 3 belts, I think, and a diamond belt. And a diamond
it's just like going.
Who's got music in the background?
I don't know who that is. But it's
Not
just like
me.
what I'm saying about AJ. If they give him franchise, if they give Fury franchise champion, if I'm AJ, I'm like, no, what the fuck I got to fight you for? This ain't for undisputed now. You fucked it
But
up.
you know what? You know what they're counting on? They're counting on the fact that Joshua is not that type of guy.
Yeah, they're
That's-
using his
that's
good
it.
nature.
I would love nothing more than if
He'll
they
still
did
fight
that.
him.
If they did that to try and make that fight, right? And they tried to do it, I would love nothing more than Joshua and Dillian Whyte to fight each other all of a sudden. Out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I
I
would
would
like that.
piss myself with laughter because that would be for undisputed.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing.
I see that.
It depends. Is it for undisputed in the absence of the Ring magazine and lineal status? It's not.
That's a good question.
It's not because
Ooh.
Mike Tyson had
But
to
then,
fight.
but
Mike Tyson didn't Mike have to fight Michael Spinks for the undisputed? You understand? Mike,
Well, hold on. When they were making the ring announcements for that fight, Buffer, right? And the lineal in the eyes of the Ring magazine and many of the publicists in the world, Michael Spinks. And ladies and gentlemen, the champion, the IBF, WBA, WBC, undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, Mike Tyson.
Fair point. Fair point. I would say if Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury were to not fight, wouldn't there be dispute though?
There will always be dispute. There's always going to be dispute until
You know what? Anywhere Joshua's involved, there's always going to be dispute. Yeah, because those that are concerned about him taking their gal will always have the hate.
Who got?
I don't know. It ain't me.
That's
I
Hustle.
think it's Hustle.
What I do?
You
You're
got
echoing, bro.
you got two tabs open.
Oh shit.
You're gonna need to mute yourself. Hustle.
I'm not gonna keep subjecting Anthony Joshua to standards that Tyson Fury. Like, I'm tired of that shit. Personally, I'm tired of that shit. I'm literally tired of that shit. All right. This dude is held to this standard where he has to do everything fucking right, and everybody else gets to do whatever the fuck they want. Wilder gets to fight Ortiz 2 times. He gets to fucking fight Brazil. He gets to fight Fury 3 fucking times.
It's
Joshua has to fight everybody, their mother, and their dog.
Here's something that I don't get. I've heard some people say this. People are saying, how would it be fair that Tyson Fury has to fight Deontay Wilder and Dillian Whyte back to back, but Joshua has to fight Pulev?
Well,
Doesn't mean no.
Can I ask a question? I got a question. Why was Pulev allowed to keep his rank after he pulled out injured?
He
that
wasn't.
first
He had a new final eliminator.
yeah, he had the one where Huey Fury was the final eliminator. That's who he had to fight for that.
Wow, that was.
Yes, that was a final eliminator for the IBF. Welcome to the world.
Thank you for correcting me. Thank you for correcting me. Fuck, I can't believe that.
Hey, I've seen worse. Look, Carlos Ocampo was the IBF mandatory just because Ponomarev pulled out. He didn't want to fight in Mexico. Strange.
At least with Pulev, he's been a consensus top 15 heavyweight for a decade.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not like he's Joe Dominican. He's not. He's at the forefront. He's been at the forefront. He's at the forefront. All I'm saying is why you got to draw a line, bro. Like, come on, dog. How much are we supposed to let Fury get away with? You could have fought Dillian Whyte before it came to this. You think we forgot? You doubled back on your word. They ordered you to fight him. You said no. Then you said yes. Then you said no. To fight someone who's not ranked as high as Dillian Whyte, who doesn't have the marquee value of Dillian Whyte. God bless Otto Verleen, but we know who a bigger name was at that time. You could have fought Dillian. And if he ain't shit, then get him out the way. You don't want to do that.
And by the way, I really want him to fight Whyte because let's say he beat Whyte. Let's say because if he beat Whyte, it means he beat Wilder, right? That's the first thing, because that's the only way to get to fight Dillian for that title, is if he beats Wilder. So if he beats Wilder again, beats Dillian, and goes into that fight undisputed, that shit's way bigger. First of all, it's way bigger. And secondly, Fury's legacy is already set. Yeah. He would have had 2 defenses, Wilder and Dillian Whyte. He would have beat Wilder twice. He would have beat Klitschko, and then he would have went for an undisputed fight. That's a near Hall of Fame career, if not a Hall of Fame career.
Yeah.
Yeah, but is he gonna do it though? Honestly, fam, I think the biggest part, obviously, like man's never been, I mean, I've been always had an objective eye, just cause, I mean, like just cause I've seen the way he moved back home, you know what I mean? But I'm disappointed because we thought him taking the belt from Wilder, we were gonna see someone who operated like a champion.
Yeah,
But let's be honest, you're just moving just like Wilder at the moment.
yeah,
There's no
yeah.
difference.
There
There's
is.
zero difference.
Well,
You know
like
what I mean?
White, I want to give a shout out to Dillian Whyte. My spider sense tells me he's listening to this show. It's the Dillian Whyte Appreciation Hour. Everybody say something nice about Dillian Whyte.
The can man, anybody can get it.
Something nice about Dillian Whyte.
So say something nice.
Yeah, very, very simply put, Dillian Whyte is.
I live in London, and Dillian Whyte hasn't confronted me.
Dillian Whyte is the very first true contender we've had in 20 years.
You know,
Dillian
I'll
Whyte
tell you
makes me
something
proud to
funny
be
is
Jamaican, and I'm not Jamaican, but I'm still
And
proud.
I was about to talk about. I heard Dillian Whyte makes delicious curry goat.
Yo, I'm just saying, Dillian was putting up some concoctions on MasterChef, bro. That was amazing. He was putting up concoctions, man. Dillian Whyte was making some nice food, you know.
Birdie num num. Yeah, somebody put that in the quote. That's the Dillian Whyte line. Birdie num num.
Here's something. Here's something, by the way. I don't know if any of you know this, but Dillian Whyte is the longest standing in the number one position in the division or in a sanctioning body at heavyweight without a title shot in 100 years since Harry Wills.
Dillian Whyte is making history,
Wow.
dog. He's going to go down in history as the longest waiting mandatory in the history of mandatories or whatever they want to classify this shit.
He's getting close. He's getting. He'd need to do that for 2 years as mandatory. As number one contender, he needs another year before the title shot, and then he surpasses Harry Wills.
So I think that most of us are agreed. I think that there's more to discuss on it, but I think that a lot of us are agreed that, like, no, you can't keep giving Fury a pass for this shit. Like, you just can't. Like, why would he get a pass? Joshua's supposed to fight top 10 fighter after top 10 fighter after top 10 fighter in succession. Fury gets to pick and choose.
No, Fury shouldn't pick and choose. This is how it works, pretty much for me. This is just my point of view. If Fury and Joshua decide that they're going to fight each other and Fury's not the WBC champion, do you know what? Fine, fuck it. Right? That's fine, fuck it, if Whyte gets his title. But Fury shouldn't fight him with that belt if he hasn't fought Dillian Whyte. That's where I stand.
Yeah.
Just like I wouldn't, if Wilder was in this position right now, he'd have to fight Joshua before, he'd have to fight Whyte before an undisputed fight. He's Mando.
Yeah, I agree.
Unless Whyte agreed to step aside. If
I
Whyte
will
agreed to
just say-
step aside, whatever.
I agree. I don't think White's going to agree to step aside, though. I don't
think they're going to offer him enough money. They need to offer that dude 50 and 20 million.
Well, that's the other. I mean, that's the other thing, though. That is the other thing that Bob. I don't see him offering White the kind of money that it would take for the situation. I don't really see Bob offering him shit. What I see Bob doing is calling Mauricio French fries. Let me get a side order of French fry champion, and Mauricio's going to give him the order.
Can I throw one little devil in the works, though? We're talking about Bob, Eddie with the step asides, right? What about the other person who could be a part of that, which is the man who's apparently made the deal between Joshua and Fury? You know,
Kinahan.
Daniel, good old Danny Kinahan. That man right there. Would he probably put a spanner in the works somehow, some way, with certain amounts of money that are untold and paralleled?
So you're saying
his tax-free income.
A little 25 million off of the multi-billion-dollar enterprise that he's already got.
That's all right. Let's put it this way. Let's say Big Danny, he decides, hey, I got a little bit of money lying around. Dillian, take this 25. Don't say nothing. Just chill out, bro. If Dillian's willing to step aside and take the cash, I have no aversion to it. Why? Because you made your decision. If you decide to step aside, if they can compensate you and we get the fight, I'm on board. But so long as Dillian wants his shot, I support him in getting that shot.
Me too, completely. One, he's earned it. But to be honest, he earned his shot more than Fury did. That's the first thing I'm gonna say. And Fury's had 2 bites at that. He had 2 bites at that title, and he got to fucking fight against absolute fucking bums in the meantime. Dillian been out here fighting Oscar Rivas, Chisora, Parker, next fight is Povetkin. Yeah. You know what I mean? He's got a champion's resume. Yeah. He actually does. So you shouldn't be doing that as a dude with a silver fucking belt. You know what I mean?
I mean, that's what I'm saying. That as long as Whyte, if Whyte is on board and he says, all right, I'll hold off because I just got all this fucking money. You made your bed, you lied in it. But if you're pushing for your shot, yeah, I support you. I support that. Like, why not? How long does he have to wait? Do you want him to get beat? Is that what it's all for? Let Whyte keep circling around and circling around. Somebody's gonna beat him. That's fucked up, bro. That's fucked up.
Honestly, I think that's the plan. That's what they're doing. They're like, well, you know what? If we hold off, yeah, let's say he beats Povetkin, yeah, and we hold off. He's got to fight someone else in the top 10 next. And then, because they know, you know what I mean? In Whyte, here's the thing, yeah. There's a lot of situations between Whyte and Joshua that they create for themselves. Because these men them are gambling on these guys' personalities and their decision or their desire to be great. Because they know Dillian's not going to do what the WBA interim champs are doing and sit out. He's probably going to fight another top 10 guy. And every time he fights a top 10 guy, he runs a risk of being beat and losing that number 1 status.
You know,
so
what
that's what
love?
these.
You know what I'd love, in all honesty? This is Julius's scenario of love. All right. Let's say they pay Whyte to step aside. Let's say, let's say they make Whyte versus Usyk. You know, if Usyk beats Chisora, assuming that fight even happens, you put Whyte versus Usyk as the co-main event of Joshua versus Fury. And everybody dies. Everybody watches the card, and everybody dies from pleasure because that's amazing. That's
not going to happen. This ain't Don King's time. Get out of here with that.
Yeah, I know, but that's my scenario of love. If the scenario that I would love, that is it.
Can I ask something, by the way? Why is it that all of a sudden WBC rankings are now in the top 10? So who Dillian Whyte would have to fight is interim, right? How come they are so much stronger all of a sudden? There's no Brazils in there. There's no Spears in there. There's no Molinas in there. Why the fuck? No, hold up a second. There's none of them. Do you know who it is? You've Wilder. You've Usyk. You've Rivas. You've Luis Ortiz. You've Andy Ruiz. Joseph Parker. Daniel Dubois, Hrgovic, Povetkin, and Michael Hunter. Yeah. That's who he has to pick from. There ain't no Brazils lurking around. No Ariolas. No fucking Spiel. Because when did that happen?
Well, I mean, I would say...
When did the WBC all of a sudden pretty much pull the Ring Magazine's top 10 out of their arse?
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah. I noticed that. I didn't realize you were just talking about the WBC, but you're absolutely right. Now, all of a sudden, it's fucking Murderer's Row at the WBC, dog. It's Murderer's Row.
Dillian Whyte gets interim title. He's like, yo, you want your mandatory? And you have to fight in the meantime. Yo, take your pick. Daniel Dubois, Philip Hrgovic, Michael Hunter. That's pretty much the weakest of them. Otherwise, you're a former unified champion, a former 10 defense champion. Get the fuck out of here.
It's critical. It's critical, man. It's critical. It is. It's very critical. Anybody holding either interim status or full-fledged champion status is fucked. 4-layer fucked. You don't want to hold on to that belt for too long, dog. You don't, bro. It's nothing but motherfucking killers lined up to fight you.
That top 10 is sick. Like, because obviously they're not going to have Joshua in there. They're not, whatever. But, like, it's pretty much got Fury, Dillian Whyte, right, as the 2 champions. And then after it, like, you've just got fucking Luis Ortiz, Povetkin, Hrgovic. Like, you've got the next coming of Daniel Dubois and Hrgovic in there. You've got Michael Hunter. I mean, imagine a top 10 where the weakest fighter is possibly Michael Hunter or Oscar Rivas.
Exactly. You're fucked. You are fucked with 2 Fs. Fucked.
It's just the weakest route you can go is Michael Hunter, mate. Good luck.
And you think, and this is, and I said this months ago, and anybody thinks for a second that Tyson Fury wants to hold on to belts when this is the landscape, you got to deal with all these fucking guys, bro. All of them. You got to deal with Yoka when he gets there. You got to deal with Dubois when he gets there. Or Joyce. You got to deal with Hrgovic. You got to deal with Mark. Everybody. The unrapeable. Everybody. You have to deal with all of them. And you think that Tyson Fury wants to no, bro. Fuck
You know
no,
what?
I'm
The
sorry.
WBC's ranking is actually the toughest right now. If you look at it, I just had a look now.
How
Well, obviously,
convenient.
bro, the WBO
How
have fucking
convenient.
The WBO have junior fan number 6.
It's also
El
how
The IBF gives
convenient.
them a run for their money. The IBF's rankings right now are pretty solid too, though. I just had a look at them. They're pretty weakest guys.
Is that Pulev, Martin, Usyk, Michael Hunter, Ruiz, Helenius, Hergovich, Parker, Schwartz, and Chisora?
Yeah, I was
Schwartz
way
is
off.
the weakest.
I was way
That's
off.
it.
I was way off. They're still better than the WBO's rankings, though, and they're certainly better than the WBA's.
Well, the WBA have they have Joshua, then Char, then Brian, and then it's Wilder, Usyk, Kovnatsky, Luis Ortiz, Andy Ruiz, Helenius, Povetkin, Hunter, and Chisora.
Yeah,
That's not too bad.
It's not terrible. It's not terrible.
I mean, but they still somehow have Freza Kendall number 15.
But I'll say that if the alphabet rank standings right now seem like a murderer's row, that has more to do with the state of heavyweight boxing than anything else. You have fucking killers integrating from all around the fucking world, dog. It's nothing but killers coming out.
I get that, but at the same point, if you look at all of those, the top 15s of all of those, and compare them to the WBCs is by far the hardest. And it's only happened since Dillian Whyte became interim champion.
Mark's got a point. Mark's got a point. I noticed that too, because you know what I mean, the WBC rankings in the Wilder era was a bit soft. You know what I mean?
A bit soft.
Molina.
It was a bit. And listen, fam, I like
Molina,
to be
Spielka, Ariola, and Stavern and Dahapa all inside the top 10. Get the fuck out of here, mate.
Listen, I like to be. You listen, fam. I just like to keep it down the middle, or at least sound like I'm keeping it down the middle. You get me?
But that's if you're saying a bit soft, that sounds like that's biased towards the WBC. That ain't down the middle. Down the middle is calling a spade, and calling a spade is that was horseshit.
They're trying to get Dillian Whyte killed. That's what's happening. That's what's happening, dog.
I feel so much for that man. That dude's fought nothing but solid opponent after solid opponent. He's taken out a who's who of top 15 fighters. Give the man his damn shot. And you know what? If Tyson Fury fights him and loses, well, at least he fucking fought against the number one contender. And if Fury beats him, guess what? He beat the number one fucking contender.
I'm telling you, what they're gonna order is Dillian Whyte versus Daniel Dubois and Philippe Hergovic on the same night in the parking lot before he makes it to the ring and has to fight Andy Ruiz or some shit. They're putting all kinds of handicaps on this guy, man.
They will never, ever, 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 ever allow Dillian Whyte and Dubois. Frank won't allow it. Frank will not take that fight.
Depends. I mean, right? It's too soon for a fight like that right now. Anyway, to be completely honest, I don't see a fight like that being realistic for another year and a half, maybe 2 years. But shit, with the way things have been going, Dillian Whyte might have to wait that long. So you never know.
That's sad.
Can I ask you a thing? What if Dillian agreed to this? Would you be for it or against the Julius? If he agreed, if he beats Povetkin and Usyk does beat Chisora, like you were saying, if he agrees, and not for it to be on the same card, but if he agrees to fight Usyk and the winner of that is the number one mandatory.
I would love that. I would. All right, this is too much for this TM. I would ejaculate. That's what would happen.
Because the winner of Usyk Whyte gets the winner of Fury AJ.
I would ejaculate. All right? It's a family show, but I have to say that is the most ideal scenario of ideal scenarios. Why? Because then that means all parties are willing to let the big fight happen, even though they shouldn't have to. That's the thing. Usyk can reserve the right to assert himself as the mandatory. He can. He's within his rights. And so is Dillian Whyte. That's what makes it complex, that a lot of people, they want something, and a lot of people deserve something. It's not just that they want it, they deserve it. So it's complex that way. But if you could get all these guys to come to the table under those circumstances to make it that way, yeah, that's perfect.
I'm not necessarily in full agreement, though, because I don't think Usyk deserves his mandatory. I get he was undisputed in another weight division, but that doesn't mean he gets to leapfrog everybody else who's been plying their trade in another division. He ain't fought no final eliminator to be a mandatory. He was just granted it because of what he did in a different division.
I get that. It's just that I got used to the WBO's little rule about I watched the
Super
man.
champion.
I watched her do it for so long that I got accustomed to it. You know, and then Crawford pretty much did sort of the same. Yeah, he did it. He did actually. As soon as he decided to move up, he became Jeff Horn's mandatory. So I got used to it. You know,
he did, but I still didn't agree with it then, and I don't agree with it now.
So if that was the scenario, yeah, I'd die. I'd die of joy. That's not going to be the scenario, though. It's not Christmas. It's not Christmas. I wish it were, but it's not. It's not.
It's not Christmas, but you know, we'll have to wait and see. Hey, maybe, who knows? Because Fury's talking about the AJ fight, but like Eddie's talking about the White fight.
He is, though. He is.
So if that's the case, look, we'll wait and see. But if Dillian Whyte does get his fight with Tyson Fury, I might be looking forward to that just a little bit more than the AJ versus Fury fight, because that's a fight that people haven't really been thinking or talking about too much. Whyte versus Fury. That's a new thought.
I like that fight. I really like that fight. I like Dillian's left hook. I like his body punching. He'll go back to being the body snatcher for that fight. You can't fight that fight long distance. You got to bring the pain.
Yeah, go bring it. Yeah, and honestly, I found Fury's a bit we know he's soggy in the middle, but I just watched the Wallen fight this morning, and he's if you just bang him to the body, he's not that great.
I mean, look, there's so many great, like for example, Rivas versus Miller. Fantastic fight. Is it likely? No, I don't think Miller wants to take a chance on a guy like Rivas. He'd sooner fight.
We're talking about Miller and Takam, though. I kind of like that.
No, I like Miller and Takam. Don't get me wrong. I like Miller and Takam, but it's fair to say that Takam is a bit more weathered than Rivas. He's weathered.
Absolutely. He's old.
So
yeah, he's got miles. He's got miles on him.
So that's gonna make the fight more attractive to Miller than Rivas. Like Rivas, like right now, he's a hot potato. You don't just want to like. That's why Dillian Whyte is my guy, dog. He done been through everything he's been through, and he still decided to fight this motherfucker. I respect the hell out of that guy. Shout out.
And now his next fight is Sasha, mate.
Fucking Sasha. Alexander Povetkin. I pronounce the I. Nobody else does. I do.
Povetkin.
Sasha Povetkin. And man. Yeah, Dylan's in a tough spot. But I do notice that, you know, Eddie's a bit slick, but I did notice that Eddie's really more on what's going on with the Dillian mandatory than I think Fury and the rest of them. Everyone's clamoring for this undisputed thing, but I honestly think Eddie's probably they're gonna make moves for that mandatory to be called.
They are. They're 100% going to do it. And this is going to be the narrative of people who hate Joshua. Are you ready? Eddie Hearn uses Dillian Whyte to block Undisputed because he's protecting AJ. Guaranteed. That's what they're going to say.
That's what they did with Povetkin. That's what they did. That's literally what they did with no bearing over. You do realize that Povetkin had already stepped aside to allow the Parker fight. The man can't wait forever.
I'll say one thing though, like the Povetkin situation, as you well know, Julius, was a very rare and weird one because of Manuel Char. Yeah. Because the super champion is not supposed to defend; he's supposed to be in search of unification. But because of the fucking Manuel Char shit and him getting like 700 fucking whatever, and then he still keeps his belt due to technicalities or whatever. Yeah. Can't even remember what that was. It was because Joshua had to take on the mandatory in his stead.
It was because, and the technicality is so stupid, because it's about what's in the B sample. That's what it's all about. But because they opened the B sample without, I think it was a representative from Manuel Char, without someone from his side to be there to witness it, that's what canceled out and voided whatever was in the B sample.
Exactly.
What if the B sample was just like the A sample? That's what we're fucking here to find out. But, you know.
Oh, fam! Did you see the mad thing on speaking of samples? Yeah, the Olympic chick that apparently tested positive.
Yeah. Jenny Fudge.
Fam, how was that? Yo, you know what? I'm dating a nurse practitioner. One of the chicks I'm dating, you know, and I asked her. I'm like, my dad's in pharma too, so I'm trying to understand this. Yeah, and anyway,
mouth
so obviously,
sample.
Huh?
Mouth sample.
Yeah, that's what we've been trying to, you know, I've been reading clinicals trying to figure out exactly how that happens. And you know what?
Look, I respect her as an athlete, and as a human being, as a woman. But I know that they're not getting vaginal swabs for these tests, right? They're not getting vaginal swabs.
Yeah, whilst we're talking about women's boxing, can I ask, Julius, do you pay attention to much on the amateur scene with the women?
I'm starting to because there's so many coming out that I have to now, especially.
Right, I'm gonna ask about this one name. Maybe you know her, maybe you don't. What do you think of Kelly Harrington?
I don't know her. I don't know her, admittedly, but I'll get to know her because I plan on following the Olympics once they resume to see who wins what. But
once the qualifiers are started, I'll give you all the links because I have all that shit on pack. I've got all the links to the Olympics qualifiers, the world qualifiers, all that shit all the time. So whenever that starts, I'll email you all that.
Yeah, because I plan on covering it. I didn't do it. I've never done it before, admittedly.
Yeah, no, I'm covering the Olympics myself. Like I've got my own pound for pound lists and everything.
Yeah, so I definitely plan on keeping up with that. But as far as Jenny, Jenny had a little bit of fun, and there's nothing wrong with that. She's a grown up; she can do what she wants. But I'm just saying that these aren't vaginal swabs they're taking.
What happened with Jenny?
They found PEDs in her system, but
GW 1314.
But it was, I forgot how it is that they explained it, but it is as a result of sexual activity, and they made that determination.
Wait, what?
Yeah, man.
Hold on. You're telling me? I can't say that. I'm gonna go. No.
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, they're not taking vaginal swabs, right? Who swabs
I was just
taking?
Man, can I have permission to say something that's completely degenerate and probably like demonetizable?
No. We're monetizing. We are monetizing. Well,
can I at least put it into the private chat?
You can put it in the private chat.
Okay.
But they're doing nasal swabs and oral swabs, and that's fine, dog. She's a grown woman. She have fun, Jenny. Just live your life, man. You only got one.
All right, there you go.
All right, let's go to the private. Oh shit!
You know what? That's what I was thinking. Was like, who was this partner? And what happened? That's what I was thinking. I was asking. I was looking at clinicals and trying to figure out like how does that transfer? And I was just sort of like, well, if it transferred, it means that whoever the person was had loads of whatever it was in this.
They would have had to, dog. Like, they must be busting at the seams. But hey.
Yo, look in the chat, by the way. Look in the chat, man. People are onto it fast, mate.
Oh. And like I said, I'm not, she's, the Olympics got canceled. What's the girl supposed to do? Everybody worked out at home. I'm not mad at her. Live your life, Good kid. She's got a bright future, so. There it is.
So is she banned from going to the Olympics then?
No, she's not. They gave her a complete pardon.
Okay.
They made the determination.
I'm literally thinking one day you're gonna have a boxer come out and say, "Yo, I gotta tell you guys something, yeah. My girl on GW 3040, right? And I was giving her some head and." That excuse is gone, bro. No, I was sucking some dick, man. I was out here. I was doing a bit of deep throat on Jarrell Miller, and all of a sudden I test positive. Nothing I can do.
Hey, things happen. Life is messy, But she's gonna get to compete in the I think she's gonna get to compete for the qualifiers. I think.
What weight she at?
That I don't know. I don't know her weight class.
Is she a lightweight? Because if she is, I don't want her fighting my girl Kelly.
I'm pretty. Actually, I think she is. Actually, I think that is because she's smaller. She's about as small as Michaela. Michaela's little. Michaela's, statuesque for a girl. But as far as weight, she's a little woman, man. She's a little itty bitty waist. But man. So we're gonna wrap this one up. I think we're all in agreement that enough passes have been given out, enough get out of jail free cards have been given out. The way this is just becoming appalling, and it is. It's appalling that you could do this to a fighter who has taken as many risks as Dillian Whyte has and is set to take more. It's appalling.
Look, if
deserves
you,
better than that.
Julius, it's this simple. If you've been calling for Deontay Wilder to fight Dillian as the #1 contender / mandatory, you should be calling for Tyson Fury to be fighting him as the #1 contender / mandatory.
Exactly. There's no reason it shouldn't happen. And I said it at the beginning of this video. It was never a guarantee that after these fights they got coming up that they were going to fight each other. That was never a guarantee. So that's not an excuse. It's not, oh, I'm putting Dillian on the back burner to fight Joshua when Joshua has another situation he has to resolve. There's another one. And that guy's talking about not stepping aside. So he might have to fight Usyk, man. He might have to. And you might have to fight Dillian. What's the problem?
Wait, hold on. So in the next, whatever, let's say Joshua fights Pulev in November.
Yeah.
Right? And Fury and Wilder fight in October through December. And then, but through February through April, Fury fights against White. They agree that. And Joshua through February through April fights Usyk. And then the winner of all those fights fight each other by the end of September.
Yeah. That's how it's, at least based on the reports, that's how it's looking. To where
so if it goes, everything goes according to plan for Fury and Joshua. Fury fights Wilder, beats him. Fights White, beats him. Right? Joshua fights Pulev, beats him. Fights Usyk, beats him. And then them two fight for undisputed. I'm just saying, as a boxing heavyweight fan, I'm a fan of anything to do with boxing. That shit sounds fucking perfect.
It's fucking amazing, dog. It's like you can't complain. Like, it's amazing.
And if you do complain, you honestly, you must be a fanboy for someone.
Exactly. All right, gents. I'm heading backstage or whatever. I'm gonna mute my mic real quick because I gotta handle something. I'm just gonna mute myself. All right.
All right. Yeah. I'm about to get off anyway. I gotta finish editing this video. But it's been a pleasure, everybody. See y'all on the next live.
Peace.